Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. 7:08 Thursday, October 13th. 49 degrees, getting up to 72 degrees today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio, streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. We are now joined on the line by Kylie Davidson. Kylie will be talking to us a little bit about the HDSA 5K. Good morning, Kylie. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us. And so you wanted to talk to us a little about Huntington's disease. Why don't you give folks kind of an overview of what the disease is all about?
Sure. Huntington's disease is a genetic disorder, and the way it works is it causes a breakdown of different cells in your brain. So it causes different motor symptoms and emotional symptoms, and it is a fatal disorder. So symptoms will begin to appear when you're anywhere from 30 to 50 years old and will get progressively worse until, unfortunately, people succumb to the disease because there is no known cure currently for Huntington's disease.
So no known cure for Huntington's disease, and I think what's equally impactful, if not more impactful, is what is the likelihood genetically of passing that disease along?
Only one parent has to have the gene in order for it to be passed on to their children. So there's a 50% chance that the child of someone with Huntington's disease could inherit the disease as well. So it's referred to as the quintessential family disease for that reason.
Right, meaning that, I mean, it's almost like if you were to discover that you had Huntington's disease at an earlier age, you would most clearly, I mean, the right thing to do would be to say, obviously, I can't have kids at this point because it's a 50-50 shot that I'm going to give them a fatal disease.
Exactly, yes. And that's one of the major reasons testing is a very personal and difficult decision that a lot of people have to make if they know that they are at risk for Huntington's disease.
Wow. So what made you so interested in this disease? And I'm sure there's a personal story that goes along with it. So why don't you share that, if you will?
Sure. Huntington's disease actually runs in my family. My Aunt Merrill, who actually passed away 3 years ago to this day, had Huntington's disease. And after learning, the devastating effects firsthand, I really wanted to do something where I felt I was making a difference in advancing our cause for HDSA and doing whatever I could to help out.
Right, and so let's make sure that we're clear here. Kylie, how old are you?
I'm 21.
21. Oh my gosh! So that's kind of a young age to be dealing with something like this, right? Something so like this is pretty heavy stuff, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Boy, but you're and so you are not at risk. Is that correct?
That's correct. I am very thankful. My mom went through testing, I believe, back in 2010, and thankfully she does not have it, and she is not capable of passing it on to myself or my two siblings. Right. Well, and I remember that time, and I remember Lenny, and I remember how he was how difficult that was for the whole family, and I'm sure, and I don't know where you were as far as in the continuum of being in the know, like if that was something that was shared with you at the time. I mean, in your case, were you kind of taking the journey with your mom, or were you kind of being left out? We were mostly left out. I didn't know it ran in my family until my mom got her test results. My parents found out that it ran in the family after having all three children. And there's a lot of different guidelines with Huntington's disease testing. They typically don't test until you're 18 years old. So my mom at that time made the decision to not go through testing. She didn't feel she wanted to know right in that moment. And she waited until it became something that she felt she couldn't live without. And one morning in 2010, she says she woke up and it was all she could think about. So she started the testing process, and it took a few months. And the only thing I really knew was that I did notice the difference in my mom. I could tell it was a very stressful time for her, a very upsetting time for her, but I didn't know what exactly was causing her to be so upset.
Right. And then now retrospectively, could you imagine what she has gone through, and could you imagine had you kind of gone through the same thing in the same kind of sequence? I mean, what that would have done to your emotions, because at the time, at 15 years old, who knows if you were even equipped to deal with something like that?
Right. I don't know how well I'd be able to handle it. My mom is the strongest woman I know and loves her children like you cannot imagine. So I'm sure it was probably the most difficult thing she ever went through, waiting to get that test result and seeing if, I don't even think she cared if she had it. I think she mostly cared about the fact that she would be able to pass it on to her children. And thankfully, she does not have it and she can pass it on.
Right. I would imagine as a parent myself, the overwhelming kind of feeling of guilt that you had been in some way delinquent in finding out for yourself and then kind of bringing others into this world that had the same opportunity. That would be that would by far be the most upsetting thing, rather than your own kind of personal fate. I could totally see that. All right. So does it amaze you on some level, though, that we have a disease? I mean, with all the technology that we have, and all the way that we can go visit other planets, and we talk about cloning, and we can talk about this, that, and the other thing, but yet we can't find a cure to a disease like Huntington's. Does that kind of blow your mind on some level?
It does a little bit. We've definitely made advances in, the genetic testing of it. The fact that we can test individuals, we know where to look in the brain. It's definitely a wonderful thing. But it is super frustrating that, in 2016, we're still fighting to find some sort of cure to help so many individuals who are suffering from such an awful, awful disease.
Right. And how many, do you have that number of how many people are impacted by that right now?
In America, it's about 30,000 individuals, but there are over 200,000 that are at risk of developing Huntington's disease. So you can see how the current effect and then the possible effect it could have on future generations.
And when you kind of extrapolate out all the numbers, when you talk about family members, caregivers, those that could possibly inherit, we're talking about over a million Americans that are impacted by this every day. And again, no cure at this time, which is why it's so important that we talk about our next part, which we're going to do after the break, Kylie. So you can hang with us for one more segment?
Okay, yes,
all right,
absolutely.
Cool. We're going to talk about the HDSA 5K, and you're going to give us some of the details there. And then, listen, we finish every guest up with a magic wand. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Do you know what we do there?
I don't.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a little preview so that you can think about it in the break. We give you a magic wand where you have the ability to wave your wand and do one thing to kind of change the world. I have an inkling of what I might know you're gonna do. So so we'll do that. Kylie Davidson talking about Huntington's disease. We'll be back right after this.
Everything you need to know about the Jersey Shore. This is Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We have on the line with us Kylie Davidson. We are talking about Huntington's disease. Unbelievably crazy, just sad disease. And one that we don't have a cure for yet, which is why we need to be supportive of events like the HDSA 5K on October 22nd. So, Kylie, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, this is the first ever 5K that the New Jersey chapter of HDSA is planning. So as you said, it's Saturday, October 22nd in Belmar at the Belmar Fishing Club. It starts at 9 o'clock. It's going to be a beautiful run along the coast of Belmar. So it'll be a really great time, and we're going to have a lot of fun while fundraising for a wonderful cause.
Awesome. And so what do you have? It's just a 5K. Registration's at 8 a.m. I mean, what's on the agenda for that day? Any major sponsors? Anything that we need to know?
We were able to get a lot of different companies to donate for goodie bags for the runners. We want to keep some of the items in that goodie bag a little bit of a surprise for people who have signed up. But we were able to get a lot of people to sign up. We have about over 80 participants right now. We'll have music playing. You can also walk the 5K. It's not just a run. We will have the course long enough for you to complete it if you are walking. So we're just really excited for everyone to get out, learn more about HDSA, and again, fundraise for the nonprofit.
Right. And so just so we make it clear, since the inception in 2007, these walks have actually happened in 100 different cities and have raised over $10 million for the cause. So this is really a great fundraising opportunity for still a mysterious disease for everyone. So that's October 22nd, 9 a.m. at the Belmar Fishing Club. And how could folks learn more if they wanted to go find out more information?
To find out more general information about Huntington's disease, you can go to HDSA.org. That is the website for HDSA. And to learn more specific information about the 5K, you can go to HDSA.org/THW Jersey Shore.
Cool. That's Team Hope Walk Jersey Shore, THW Jersey Shore. Kylie, it's that time now where we give you the magic wand, the pixie dust, the fairy dust, the ability just to wiggle your nose and make an impact on the world. Kylie Davidson, what are you going to do with that magic wand? I have an idea.
Well, I think I would obviously say, I would love to have a cure for Huntington's disease, but I do believe that I will see a cure for this disease in my time with how hard people are working. So I think more so what I would want is to see that Huntington's disease becomes a more well-known disease. I think one of the hardest things about it is that, you say it and so many people are like, oh, what's that? Or I've heard of it, but I don't really know what it is. And that lack of support, I think, can be really draining for individuals who are going through Huntington's disease, feeling like they don't have a community rallying around them. And after volunteering with HDSA and seeing how hard so many of the volunteers work and how much of their lives they dedicate to such a wonderful cause, I would really love to see, more people know about it, more people get involved to help us do such wonderful work and help so many people who are suffering from this awful disease.
Cool. Well, Kylie, I would just say, listen, number one, it's really awesome to see a young person stepping up and really so passionate about a cause. And frankly, it would have been kind of easy for you to say, hey, you know what? I'm not affected by it. God, thank God. My mom's not affected by it. It's going to be okay, and move on with the rest of your life. And you haven't done that. And so major kudos to you. Certainly a reflection on a great family. So thank you for all you're doing in this regard.
Thank you.
Cool. Kylie Davidson talking to us about Huntington's disease, HDSA 5K, October 22nd, 2016 at the Belmar Fishing Club. HDSA.org, right? Anyway, more Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin coming up after this. We have Kevin Williams' Hometown View. No, we don't. We'll be back after this, though.